Hey everybody, welcome back to Durbin's Bourbon. I'm Joe.
And I'm Josh.
Guess what you see before you? Yeah, it's the holy grail of bourbons. Pappy 23. I had an idea the other day. No, I wasn't drinking too much when I had this idea. I have made comments on previous videos. The two whiskeys we have, we're doing a blind today. Pappy 23 and Old Forester 1910. Why did I choose 1910? Josh and I talked about it. And in previous videos, we've drank 1910 quite a bit. At one point, I was collecting 1910 bottles because it was my favorite whiskey. It is
always readily available, at least for us.
And it is a $60 bottle of bourbon.
Is it that much?
Yeah, it's pretty spendy. 56, 57.
Oh, it's 50. Because the 1920 is 60.
It
That's
might
higher
be,
proof. It could have gone up either way.
It might be under $50. You're going to eat a $50 bill when you buy that.
Delicious.
As opposed to Pappy 23, suggested retail is $300. Okay, where am I going with this? I've made comments in the past, and I really feel this way. I thought the 1910, with the way they oaked it after the fire of 1910, they re-put barrels back into extremely charred barrels, like alligator char, not the typical 4 or 5, but to the point where the barrel was almost compromised. And they put already aged whiskey into those barrels to salvage those barrels from the fire and whatever the story is that goes. But that imparted a heavy char without the age. So the 1910 has a lot of strong vanillas and caramel and all those notes without the astringent, super aged whiskey. Yes, 1910 is a different mash bill than Pappy. Pappy is a wheated mash bill. 1910 is a rye mash bill. Of course, they're both bourbons, over 51% corn, rye in the mash bill versus wheated in the mash bill, and malted barley. The 1910 is coming in at 93 proof. The Pappy 23 is coming in at 95 point something. And 95.6.
If you watch this channel a lot, you know that I forgot my train of thought. What was I going to say?
If you watch this channel, whiskey, bourbon, Pappies.
Oh, I can't remember. Dang it.
Oh, man.
I had a point.
I'm sure it was a really good point,
It was.
too.
I was thinking about it when you were talking. Maybe it'll come back to me.
Oh, man. We're not about saving hard-to-get whiskeys. They're meant to be drank. They're meant to be enjoyed.
I got it.
Boom.
So, for us, bourbon's sweet spot is 8 to 12 years. Mm-hmm. Anything in that vein seems to be the best. Whatever it is, whatever product, whatever they're pushing, whatever. Somewhere in that 8 to 12 years we think is the best. A little newer than that. Sometimes it tastes a little green. A little older than that. Sometimes it's over, like he said, astringent, kind of an oaky, not like a extra oaked thing, but like... anyway, so the 8 to 12 years typically we agree is that sweet spot. So that was my point.
Right.
See, I found it. It was in there. Around.
And a lot of the really popular whiskeys today, Buffalo Trace.
Eagle Rare is a 10-year-old.
Yep. Buffalo Trace is approximately 8. Yeah. Your Weller 12 is 12. Wild Turkey 7 to 8. That 8 to 12 vein is where whiskey, be it wheated or rye, seems to find that sweet spot.
Right.
So I've never been a huge fan of the Pappy 23 just because it is very over-oaked. And that's
overhyped.
And overhyped. And I've always thought, it'd be neat to kind of do a blind with some. And Josh had an idea. We were going to compare the Weller 12 to the Pappy 23.
Or the
or the Lot B,
Lot B, yeah, which is a 12-year.
It is a 12-year.
Same mash bill, and see if.
And that way you're comparing apples to apples.
Right.
It's just, is it super aged or is it in that sweet spot? We've done Weller 12 and Van Winkle Lot B 12. We've compared those two. If y'all look back through the channel, it's several years ago we did a comparison. I can't even remember how they turned out, but we compared them as well. This one, just because of the oakiness of the 93 proof Old Forester product, I kept going backwards, thinking, man, I think I like this better than Pappy 23.
And he's mentioned it a few times on some of the things we review. He's like, I think I like this better. So he came up with the idea, well, let's do a blind and see if you do. So
yeah, because, I mean...
And it's his whiskey, so of course I'm in.
Yeah, we might as well
when are you going to trust Pappy 23?
In a blind.
Yeah, for free.
Yeah.
For me.
Right. And, we've had this for a while. Wife won it in several years ago for Christmas. It's been a long time. So the bottle's getting down. It's starting to oxidize a little bit. I do put preserver in them, but I don't know how much that really makes a difference. There's going to come a time we're just going to have to polish these bottles off and finish them.
Yeah, dang it.
And call it a day.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. If I ever get another one, oh well. It is what it is.
True.
This microphone is very sensitive. To my right, your left, as you're staring at me, you will hear, if we're quiet, the bubbles. We have 7.5 gallons of mash percolating off to the side. Those of you that make beer, fermenting. Those of you that make beer, whiskey, if you have the proper permits, as we do, you would know what I'm talking about. So we have a jug of mash cooking here. It's percolating quite aggressively. The yeast is very happy. It's eating quite rapidly. That's the noise you hear. So just understand that we're not just a whiskey channel. We're all encompassing. We do all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I said that like that, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, it's coins for you. All right, let's get
into this.
So this is glass 1 and glass 2, glass 1 and glass 2.
Correct.
That's how we will address them.
Not knowing which one is which.
Correct.
You're going for glass 1, I'll go in for glass 1. It's very dark.
Oh, see, I already think I know what that
is. Yeah. I'm just going to do a smell.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Oh,
off the nose.
Now I'm confused.
Off the nose.
Yeah, I think so.
Off the nose, I know. I feel like I know.
Me too, I think.
It's not sad. It's consistent. Weller products, the weeded mash bill from Buffalo Trace is consistent.
Yeah.
Across the board. It has a predictable nose for a weeded bourbon.
I'm starting to second guess myself now.
I'm not one bit.
Oh man,
not one bit.
Yeah, you're like a huge Weller guy. Where I like it. I think it's delicious, but I don't.
Okay. Yeah, I know my nose already.
Yeah.
I can't unsay that. I can't unsmell it. So, flavor wise, nose wise, they're both amazing. This one's a little more oaky.
And we're not necessarily have the same in each glass, too, just so you know.
Correct.
This one's got the sweetness. See, that's what's throwing me off.
This one's got a beautiful vanilla nose.
Same with this.
This one has the soft vanilla. Yeah. Yeah, soft. This is soft vanilla. Soft vanilla, but there's that wheat note to it that's not pepper.
That's how I feel with my number 1. But you feel that with your number 2?
My number 2, yes.
Yes, I'm the same.
Soft wheat. Number 1, vanilla and pepper.
I don't get pepper on my
both very good noses.
Vanilla, but it's like a harsher.
Yeah. Boy, very good. Both noses.
Yeah, those are pretty. It's kind of pretty comparable, knowing one's a wheat and one's not.
Correct, which is a huge, big deal when you have rye and wheat whiskeys. Yeah. Their characteristics are different, but now we know that Old Forester isn't 23 years old. It is an 8 to 10-year-old bourbon,
Correct.
but it's re-barreled in an excessively charred barrel, giving it that deep, rich color without the astringent, over-oaked characteristic.
I'm gonna try my
You're
number
going into
one.
number
Yeah,
one? Okay.
We already smelled them.
Yep, number
Cheers.
one. Cheers. Cheers, everybody. That's hot.
Wow.
That's hot. Vanilla.
That's smooth vanilla right there.
Vanilla, char, and rye. I got rye. I got rye, number one. I'm going to take another taste.
I'm getting like honey, sweet vanilla. I'm not getting a whole bunch of it. I got like toasted marshmallow. Wow, that's good.
That is a my number one's a very nice whiskey. It's heavy char. It's rich and full bodied. Kind of hot. Whatever the proof, I mean 93 and
Or
95,
95 's pretty
they're comparable.
My number one was a little hot, but
Was
not overbearingly hot, but it's very smooth, round, like sweet vanilla, toasted
Right.
marshmallow.
So it's
There's
balanced.
very balanced.
Okay.
Very
interesting.
just like a sweetness to it that's not usual in bourbon. And try our number twos.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody. Going in for a number two.
What is that?
I brought some air in.
Red grape.
I got almost sweet tart, that powdery sweet tart note.
Ooh, that one is hot. My number two is hot. I get a lot of vanilla. I got a red creme brulee kind of thing going on.
Really?
Yeah. I'd say like a dark fruit sugar.
Boy.
Ooh.
My number two has a sweet tart note. It's hot.
My number two is hot as shit.
And I'm not getting... I'm going to have some water and cleanse the palate.
Both these are pretty high proof, though. Oh, that's good. I think already I would say my number one's my favorite. I think I know what it is. And I prefer it over the number two by like a good amount. So hopefully it's 1910, then I know my tastes are for the poor man. I don't have to worry about getting Pappy anymore.
Boy. I will say the nose... The nose on my number two blew the nose away on number one. It blew it away.
My nose is, to me,
They're both good.
oh, yeah, now that I go back, my number one's the nose. I mean, it was better, but I thought they were closer, but now that I've had some tastes and
Right.
killed some taste buds. Yeah, I think my number one all around is better. I prefer
That's where
it.
I'm leaning.
Yeah, I prefer my number
There's a
one
fruit
over.
fly.
Get it.
He's going after
ain't
the
seen
mash. Did you get him?
No.
I killed the
I
other
got
one.
chopstick. Oh, yeah, I did.
You,
Oh, stop.
Ah, you got him.
Son of a...
You get
I'll
away.
leave him here until he's dead. All right. Well, I think I'm good with doing picking and
I
stuff.
do think number two for me is softer, but just barely.
Really? My number one Yeah, my number one, I wouldn't say blows number two away, but it is hands down better. But the number two is really good too. Just the softness of my number one, and just the melding of flavors almost, and that's why I think I know what it is. But
yeah, that's where I am with number two. Number two was soft on the nose was noticeably different, which led me to believe what I think it is.
Yeah,
because we are partial to Weller. We know the Weller family.
Especially
We've been
you.
drinking it for years.
Right. Like we always say, like that. I used to get that 107. It was $21.95, and that was my daily. That's just my
we drank a lot of it. Cocktails.
It's always going to be around, and then it went away for a while, and now it comes back here and there. But now it's $60.
It's not worth that.
No.
But anyway, would you like to know?
Yeah, let me.
What yours are?
Yeah. So that's again my number one was my favorite. I think it was more well balanced in my opinion.
Okay.
It seemed like it had. Softer, had the wheat. I believe it's Pappy. It tasted weeded. If it's got that, I had like honey and vanilla.
Right.
The char wasn't terrible. I thought last time I thought the char was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
It just tasted like charred, marshmallows.
Right.
Creme brulee kind of thing. And then, no, creme brulee was on this one. So then my two, obviously, I thought was a 1910.
You thought number two was 1910.
I thought number two was 1910.
Number one,
I preferred
Pappy.
So if I'm wrong, either way, I preferred number one
Okay.
over number two by a considerable margin. So I'm hoping that this is the 1910, but I think it's Pappy, and I think that's 1910.
You're right.
Oh,
You're right.
Dang
you know
it.
your Weller knows.
I think
Weller
so.
is
But then when I
unmistakable.
went to 1910, I'm like, I don't know.
You did.
I was like, oh, I don't know. Like that's.
You were second guessing yourself, and
And I don't
you really
drink anymore
shouldn't
because the Weller's kind of rare now. I don't
Right.
drink it nearly as much
No,
as
we
I
don't.
used to. So, all right. So
You nailed it, buddy.
All right.
So Josh's number one was Pappy 23. His number two was Old Fine Whiskey 1910.
Old Forester.
Old Forester.
Old Fine.
Old Forester. Both good whiskeys, but that answer to question
Yeah.
to me is 23 years too long.
I don't think so, man. That's pretty good. I thought it was better than I remember.
I thought the last time I tried it, I thought it was not good at all.
I wonder if it's because we're comparing it. You don't compare it usually.
We don't.
If you're having a pour of Pappy 23, you're just
You're
enjoying
having a pour,
that. Yeah.
right? So yeah.
All right.
Mine was my favorite. Happened to be number two. The nose was uncharacteristically. I feel, if I'm wrong, that's egg on my face. It had the Weller characteristic, had the wheat characteristic for number two. Instantly on my nose, that's what I smelled, even after I smelled this one first. So my guess is, I'm just guessing, I think this is 1910 and this is the Pappy 23. My favorite happened to lean towards this one only because overall it was a little softer on the finish. Initially it felt hotter, which it would. It was a higher alcohol content. But in the overall scope of things, the vanilla and the caramels and the soft, I got sweet tarts on this, where I didn't get that before. I got vanilla, caramel, and some oak, given the fact that is that secondary oak in the overcharred barrels takes precedence over that, which I thought before the Pappy 23 was higher.
Right.
But I don't know. So that's my guess. I think this is my favorite. Is this one, whatever it is. This one was my favorite between the two. The nose was unmistakable, and whatever it was, the nose was more elegant, and to me, I enjoyed it more. And then the flavor was close, but I leaned a little bit towards it.
Okay, so what would you say? What would you say?
I think number one is the Old Forester 1910, and I think number two is Pappy 23.
You were correct, sir. So
Oh,
you know your
man.
Wellers too. So,
Yeah.
yeah. You could almost. I got confused by the nose because I wonder if because you had the 1910 first and then went to the Weller product.
Yeah.
I started with the Weller and then went to the other one. I'm
Right.
like, that's kind of similar,
Right.
And then
Because our glasses were poured differently.
right. So as you go through it, when I tasted it, I'm like, that's got to be Pappy. But then I was trying to be objective. Like, do I really like it better? And I do. It's just the mouthfeel even is different.
The mouthfeel is different.
But it was hot still. I mean, it's 95 whatever proof.
95.6. The unique part that we've talked about, there's Maker's Mark, there's Larceny, that are all weeded, red winter wheat. The Pappy line is all weeded bourbons.
1792 has a weeded sweet wheat.
Oh, they do. And it is not anything like these.
No.
Of all the weeded bourbons, it seems that the Weller line, because this starts out as Weller juice. There is no, in Buffalo Trace Distillery, there is no barrel, and I know this for a fact because we've been to the distillery more than once. There is no Pappy Van Winkle barrels at the distillery. It's all Weller. And so the Van Winkles hand select the barrels when it's tasting time, and they go, that's a Weller product, and this is going to be our taste profile for Pappy Van Winkle or Lot B or
then it becomes a Pappy barrel.
Then it becomes a Pappy barrel because that's part of the contract they have with Buffalo Trace. But laying all that aside, the Buffalo Trace weeded mash bill is so consistent.
Good. Yeah,
it's consistent. Weller products, Pappy products, Van Winkle products. It's all the same. The nose is the same. The mouth feels the same. The creaminess. It is completely consistent.
Yeah, you can tell as soon as.
Yeah, you could put a Weller product or a Buffalo Trace weeded mash bill compared to a Maker's Mark mash bill, which is weeded, and I guarantee you we would know the difference. Yeah, and it's still wheat, which is part of the amazing.
Well, it's the yeast they use, and the process, and all that stuff.
It's part of the amazing thing that just because it's wheat doesn't mean they're all going to taste the same.
Correct.
The whiskey world is so unique and amazing.
Fun and amazing.
It is. So look at that. We both picked the Pappy 23. I'm surprised.
Are you?
I am. I really kind of thought
I like that, Matt, but you're such a Weller guy. I figured as soon as you taste that, you're like, oh yeah, that's bringing me home.
Yeah.
But I thought it was, I did think, like we talked about, I feel like the last couple times we've had it, it seemed oaky. Like too oaky and astringent, but I'm not getting any of that.
I'm not either. Not at all.
It is just delightful.
It is very good. And I'm going to finish it last. Well, actually, to wrap out the channel.
Yeah, we should give him a 23 cheers.
So, those of you out there, we may get some haterade on here. I don't care.
Good.
You know,
bring it.
You have whiskey, enjoy it with your friends.
It's not going to last forever.
It ain't. And you can't take it with you when we go to the grave.
No.
So, if y'all are lucky enough to try the Pappies, get them. You know, if you're on an anniversary, whatever, spend the money. You can't take it with you.
And within reason.
Yeah. You're going to pay for a pour of Pappy, the standard across the nation pour. You're going to pay a couple $100 for a pour. Like, these are pretty light pours. We both poured pretty gingerly. But you're going to pay a couple $100 for a pour. Or unless you win it, you're going to pay a few thousand for a bottle.
Didn't get them.
Damn. But with that, you know, it's still just whiskey.
Right.
Just damn good whiskey.
Correct.
They have done good. I am re-happy again that they have aged
I like when you get re-happy.
I'm re-happy. I thought it sucked garbage, but it didn't. It's got that nose.
It does. It's good. It's really good.
It's pretty impressive. Damn it.
I'm just rubbing it in. We should probably end this for it.
Yeah. We hope you've enjoyed this video. Yeah, it's not a standard. You're not going to get this on your regular channels, but that's why we're unique. We're something different. Mm-hmm. We hope you guys stick to us, follow us, hit that thumbs up if you've enjoyed this video, drop some comments. In the lower right-hand corner of your screen, you'll see that cool little YouTube icon. I have placed it there for your ease of subscribing. Hit that button and subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. You'll put your email in and boom, you're there. Every Saturday we put a new video out. So you'll know that a new video is there for your enjoyment. I got nothing else, buddy.
No. Wrap this pig up.
Alrighty. Well, as always, enjoy your whiskeys and bourbons.
Any way you like.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers, buddy.
Pappy 23.
Mm-hmm. Pretty good.
Pretty damn good.